Hey, everybody. Welcome back to ParaMystic Podcast. I'm your host, Kristina Bloom. Welcome to this spring. We are finally getting some spring. I know it's still pretty chilly here in the upper Midwest, but we are finally getting some spring weather, starting to see some buds on some trees. And yeah, it's kind of nice, except for all that pollen floating around in the air. And I know a bunch of people are already sneezing a lot, which is kind of par for the course at this time of year. But enough of that. Moving on to, I have an amazing guest with me today. Let's see, I have some notes here because he's done so much already. He's been paranormal investigating for 41 years worldwide. He's an empath and a medium, a child psychic starting at the age of 4. He is a Cherokee and Korean Reiki master. Now, I'm a Usui Reiki master, so I'm interested in hearing about those two for sure. And he has 2 books that are already out. So You Think Your Kid's a Psychic, that he co-wrote with Lee Triana and Matthew Brown. And I believe he also said it was Lee Triana's mother that contributed to this book as well. And Our Sacred Journey. And he is in the midst of writing his 3rd book, Our Supernatural Journey. So we have a lot to talk about today. Let's bring out Mr. Blaine Rohan.
Well, good morning, Kristina.
Well, good morning, Blaine. How are you?
I'm alive and kicking. And
Awesome.
That's funny. You were talking about the pollen. I don't know how bad it is up where you live, but down here in Alabama, it is just a sea of yellow everywhere.
We're getting there.
Oh.
We're getting there, but we're still having some freezing nights. So it's sort of like tempered a bit, but it's still pretty high pollen counts. So
it sounds like you guys are like us. I call it pneumonia weather because like yesterday here, it was 87 and today the high is going to be 70. So
okay. Yeah. Yeah, we've been up in the 70s already, but today the high is in the 40s. So we're up and down a lot. So it's interesting because everybody's walking around like, sneezing into their elbows and trying not to upset people.
Exactly.
We just got out of flu season, so everybody's a little paranoid yet about it. So
Oh yeah, I agree.
Wow. Wow. So moving on. I don't even know where to start. So you found out when you were 4 years old?
Well, I'll tell you, me and my grandmother, she's full-blooded Cherokee, all right?
Okay.
And we lived across the street from this old dilapidated graveyard where they had open holes in the graves, tombstones knocked over, but they had the best wild blackberries, plums, strawberries, and we would go pick thousands of bags of these things out of that graveyard. Well, one day we were coming, and we lived on a real busy street, so you had to look both ways before you crossed or you would get run over. Mm-hmm. Well, my grandmother went ahead and crossed the street without me. And I heard this lady crying. And I turned around, and this lady in this beautiful white dress was leaned over this grave. And me being the little Southern gentleman I am, I went up to her and said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And Kristina, I'll never forget, she looked up at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I'm okay now, baby." And as soon as she said that, Kristina, she was gone like the wind, just poof.
Wow.
Here. My grandmother's sitting on the other side of the street. Now, my grandmother had gifts, crazy gifts. She could see, hear, everything with spirits because she was more connected with them. I made it back across the street. My grandmother looked at me and just smiled and goes, "I knew you would be the one that had the gift." I didn't know what she was talking about. I thought I just saw some nice lady crying over her grave. So that's how I found out that I could see spirits. And my grandmother worked with me from about 4 till about 7, and she got remarried and moved away. So I no longer had my support system. So I grew up being a kid psychic, kid medium, or whatever you want to call what I am, dealing with things that a 7-year-old child should not deal with. I would see spirits that had been shot, stabbed, burned, run over, and they'd show me themselves in that form or fashion how they died. Well, it was pretty scary growing up because you couldn't, and I lived here in Alabama, so you couldn't tell nobody, hey, I'm seeing ghosts, because they'd throw you in a rubber room.
Right.
Or the church would exorcise you.
Yeah.
But I learned once I embraced the gifts I had, that was not as scary as they were before.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I thought everybody saw ghosts. I really did.
Me too. Me too. It didn't seem unusual.
No, I thought everybody did.
Well,
and you come to find out, no, there's only certain people that get to see spirits.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Yeah, because when you're a kid, you assume that if you can do something, everybody can do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it would be funny. Like the first day I went to like kindergarten, of course there's a lot of kids there, but I was seeing a lot of children's spirits. So it looked like there was 10 times more people than what were actually at the kindergarten. And I thought all of my new friends could see them too. It's like, hey, you see that little girl over there on the swing? And they look over there, it's like nobody there for them. But you're seeing her in perfect, like I'm looking at you.
Right.
But it was an interesting growing up like that.
I agree. Yeah, I had a similar experience. Mine started with dreams, but yeah, I would know things and didn't know how I knew them. But I was just surprised that other people didn't know them.
Well, I'll give you a funny story. My grandmother was a medicine woman, and people would come to our house to have her treat them. And I'll never forget, this lady came in and she was very pregnant. And I just looked at her. I think I was 5. And I said, you have 2. And she gave me this puzzled look like, 2 of what? 2 heads? That's the kind of look I got from her. And my grandmother just shook her head because my grandmother knew.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say a word. She went to her regular doctor to get her prenatal checkups and stuff. And the doctor told her she was having twins. I do apologize. Hold on. Let's see what idiot's calling me. Right, my wife. Sorry.
Uh-oh. You're in trouble now.
But yeah, she went back and had her doctor say, oh, she's having twins. She come back to my grandmother and goes, how does he know? And all I knew was I could see 2 babies. I just saw 2 of them. So yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. I had that kind of stuff all the way through school. And finally somebody when I was in 7th grade told me to stop being weird. And I didn't know what they were talking about. Like, I'm seriously, I did not know what they were talking about. They're like, stop telling people's business. I'm like, what business? Yeah. Everybody knows this stuff. And they're like, no, they don't.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, okay. All right.
I would do the same thing, Kristina. It's like, yeah. What do you mean? I mean, it's like, we knew stuff. It's like a kid would come to school and you could just feel on them that they were having trouble at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, one day I said, why'd your mom leave? And that's stuff you just don't tell people, but we didn't know any better because our guides are saying, tell them this. And we tell them.
Yeah.
But, I was taught by my grandmas, you tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's not for us to judge. It's just we're being told to tell them that, tell them what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I did not have guidance. And it was just kind of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had guys who just didn't know who they were.
Well, yeah, but I didn't have like a grandmother who could guide me or, somebody like that.
Well, I only had her for 3 years, so
yeah,
I didn't really get much guidance.
That's true. So you have this amazing gift, and as you've gone on with your life, you have learned how to use it.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about this Cherokee and Korean Reiki,
Okay.
because that is new to me. I'd love to hear.
Okay. All cultures have a form of energy healing, which Reiki is. Okay.
Mhm.
So my grandmother taught me the Cherokee way of doing it. It's not much different from the Korean or anybody else. It's straight up energy healing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what she taught me, to use nature around me, to um, feel the energy, flow the energy, not just give your own. The Korean was funny. I was over there probably about 9 different times. We'd have a thing that we had to go to every year that was called Team Spirit, where we would train with the South Korean Air Force and the Army and stuff like that. Well, I had met this Korean gentleman at the chow hall one day. And he said, I do a Reiki class. And at the time, I didn't know what Reiki was actually. I just knew about energy healing. I didn't know
Mhm.
what Reiki was. And you'll laugh at this, Kristina. To pay him, he wanted a bottle of Jack Daniels from the base. So I would bring him a bottle of Jack. And he started teaching me. Well, I got to my 3rd class with him, and he pulled me aside and says, I can't teach you no more. You know more than I do. And I'm like, huh? Like, you're a Reiki master. He says, no, your energy is stronger than mine is. And so
Wow.
he wouldn't teach me anymore. But I'd still go visit him and bring him a bottle of Jack anyway, just so I could sit down and just talk with him, because he was a cool old guy. And he'd always ask me, he said, hey, you want to teach this class for me today? And
No.
he gave me my certificate at my 3rd class with him. So he said, you're a natural healer. So that's how I'm a double Reiki master.
That is awesome. And I know about native energy healing. I just never called it Reiki, I guess.
It's just
It's just energy healing.
it's just
Yeah.
energy healing. Exactly.
Yeah.
But most people know the term Reiki
Yeah.
as an energy healing. So that's why I tell them I'm a master in the Korean and the Cherokee.
That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. Yeah. So you've been investigating for 41 years. When did the investigations part actually start? Like,
This
what
is
was
funny.
around that?
Okay, I was at an Air Force school at Norton Air Force Base in California. And me and 2 buddies were sitting in what they call a day room. It's just a room we could go in and watch TV, shoot pool, drink coffee,
Mhm.
whatever. We were watching Helter Skelter on TV.
Okay.
And me, I am a psychological. I want to know why people kill people. Okay. And I told my buddies, I said, we're only 60 miles from Cielo Drive, where the Manson family killed Sharon Tate and a few others. Now, we went old school, Kristina. We had a cassette recorder.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Polaroid camera. And when you're in the Air Force, they give you this flashlight that has a cone on the end of it. We called it a Lachlan laser, because it had an orange cone on it, or a yellow cone, or a red cone, where people could see you when you're marching in the dark time. So we stop at a gas station, we fill up the tank, and we buy a map. And we old schooled it. Now, kids today wouldn't know how to use a map, because they got Google.
Mine do, because I taught them.
Thank you, Kristina. Somebody actually has some sense. Yeah, I taught my daughter how to use a map. I taught my granddaughter how to use one. Yeah, but we followed the map and we went up there. At the time we were there, this is like 1985. So the house that Sharon was actually killed in no longer exists. they had torn it down, and a father and son bought the property next door to it and that property. And they made a house right in the middle of that property just to have a bigger piece of property.
Right.
Well, I knew if I got off the curb and stood on the ground, I'd be trespassing. We stayed on the curb. It's a little, well, I would say it's a little, no, it's a big cul-de-sac where the house originally was. We had been there 5 minutes, and an LA County Sheriff's deputy came up there and asked us what we're doing. And I'm like, we didn't even have a word for ghost hunting. I said, we're trying to see if we can catch a ghost. I thought he was going to arrest us right there. And his words was, I get off in 10 minutes. Do you mind if I come back? I'm like, you please come on back, but I can't get arrested if you're here with me.
Right.
And we didn't catch nothing on the Polaroid, but a bunch of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of dander. The 3 EVPs I caught off on that cassette recorder was the first one. I had a male voice come through, and I asked him, I said, what is your name? And he replied back, Jay. And I asked him, I said, what did you do for a living? I cut hair. Well, Jay Sebring was Sharon Tate's good friend. He was a hairdresser to the stars. He was like the Vidal Sassoon of the late 60s.
Okay.
And the next one I had come through was a female voice. And all it said was, I'm Abby. Well, I asked her, I said, what did you do? And she says, coffee. Well, Abigail Folger was the heiress to the Folgers' coffee fortune. She was murdered there. And the third EVP I caught was another female voice saying, I'm Sharon. Then I asked, I said, are you Sharon Tate? And her reply to me was, they killed me. They killed my baby. That was my first 3 EVPs I ever caught.
Yikes. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty famous case. I mean, everybody knows that she was pregnant. So
Yeah, 8 months. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was my first experience as an investigator.
That's a pretty powerful experience.
Yeah. It got me hooked, Kristina. I was hooked because I was like, if I catch this, what else can I catch?
Wow. I'm kind of gobsmacked. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's my life.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I don't typically use any kind of equipment, which is interesting. I mean, I do have a spirit box. I don't use it very often. And when I do, it typically malfunctions. So even when I catch something, it won't record it.
Yeah.
Even with the record button. And it's new. It's not like it's, like I've had it for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's new. It won't record. So it's kind of pointless to even try to use it. But it's interesting.
Well, the only reason I like using a ghost box is where other people can hear what I hear.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes it easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm normally like you, I'll walk into a location with me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know anything about the location. I want to go in there and see what I pick up on and see what I can get validated later, which has usually been working pretty good for me for the last 41 years.
Yeah, that's been working pretty well for me too. The last time that I actually did an investigation was with Gwen, believe it or not.
Oh, right on.
And I haven't done one since, but we got something when we were in a haunted train car.
Oh,
that
I
we
love cars.
Validated that night.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Well, it's funny. My last investigation was with Gwen too.
Oh.
At Haygood Mill last year, right after right before I filmed for Monster Quest.
Oh, wow.
It was with her and Lee.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Matt.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to get down there and start investigating with you guys at some point.
You need to come on because we get so much stuff when we go, Kristina. I can imagine adding you with us too.
Yeah,
it'd be nuts. It'd be crazy.
What is the craziest thing you've actually managed to record? Which I think you already told me. But is there anything else that you would say is just as crazy?
Oh my goodness! All right, I'll tell you the funniest one that ever happened to me.
Okay.
We were at this old mental hospital here in Alabama called Bryce's.
Okay.
It is now closed down. You can't, they've torn the building down and everything. But we did the last investigation before they tore it down. We did 8 hours there. And right next door, there was an old convalescent home. The state was going to refurbish and make into real nice senior apartments. It wasn't going to be a convalescent home. It was going to just be a place where seniors could go live.
Oh my God, those poor people. Okay, anyway, continue.
All right. We were on this sidewalk and there was a pile of wood sitting up on this sidewalk. You know, of course, we've been investigating 8 straight hours and we were going to investigate the property where the old convalescent home was. Well, I wanted to sit down for a minute. And luckily, I had my recorder going and I had my ghost box going. I heard this old male, when we were about to sit down on the wood, I hear him go, "Not gonna hold you, dumbass." On the recorder, you hear us sit down, that wood break, us hit the ground, and you hear this old man cackling. "Ha ha ha, told you, dumbass." And then you can hear him walk off.
I can see it. You tell a great story because I visualized the whole thing.
Oh, it was so hilarious because it didn't hurt to fall. But him knowing that we were going to crash through that wood was just classic. And I thought it was one of the funniest things I had ever heard.
That is funny.
But I've heard a couple of other funny things at locations. I'll give you a prime example. At Old South Pittsburgh Hospital up in Tennessee. We're up on the 3rd floor. I'm running the ghost box. I'm picking up on what's in there because there's a lot of spirits in that hospital. I pick up on this young girl, probably about 15, 16 years old. And I hear her say, "I have Facebook." And I'm like, "What is your status, dead?" I said, "I want to send that friend request right now." And on the 2nd floor of the same hospital, when I leave a floor, because we were doing an event, so I was having another group come in behind us. And I always tell the spirits, "Thank you for letting us be here. We appreciate you communicating with us."
Absolutely.
I've got another group of people that are coming up here. You guys be as nice to them too. I hear this 20-something-year-old female say, "Well, bye, Felicia." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" But yeah,
that's awesome.
The kind of stuff I get. Or the get outs or the FUs, or I get a lot of FUs.
I don't get so many of those. I just get like physical, what do you call it? Like we were at Broadhead Manor and my youngest one was there. We had my oldest one's memorial service there. He likes it there. He tends to show up when people are there. Right. And they were playing kickball in the gym. One on this side of the veil and one on the other side of the veil, but that ball kept going back and forth.
That's amazing. I love.
They were playing kickball in the gym. Yeah,
right on.
That was pretty cool.
It is my goal to get up to the Broadhead Manor or Broadview Manor.
Broadhead. It's the name of the town. Yeah, the name of the town is Broadhead. So
okay. I've been wanting to come up there and investigate because I've heard you guys talk about it so much. So one of these days, I'm actually get up there and come investigate with you guys.
Hey, we have a big event going on June 6th.
Unfortunately, we've got too many other events that I've got this summer. Believe me, if I could make it up there in June, I probably would.
Awesome.
And I might try anyway.
There you go.
I just got to see what plane flights are. Now that's up in Wisconsin, correct?
That is in Wisconsin, yes.
What's the nearest city there
The nearest city with
that you can fly into?
an actual airport would probably be Madison.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's where Gwen flies into a lot, is Madison.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about 45 minutes from Broadhead.
That's not a bad drive then.
No. And, I'm happy to pick you up.
Let me talk to the wife and see if we can plan on this, because that might be fun.
That might be fun. Yeah. The Bearded Brothers they're a pretty cool group. They do a lot of volunteer stuff, and they do a lot of fundraising stuff. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be doing readings there. I'll be doing psychic readings there. I don't know if they still have tables available, but that would be a cool place to be doing it. They're going to have, I know they're going to be doing investigations and tours and that sort of thing too. So
right on. Because I love, and I know that's an old historical place, and I love investigating historical places.
It was a school. So
I've had such good looking schools.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Have you ever got to do Pottstown down in Ohio?
No, I have not.
Oh, that place is, let me tell you what happened to us there.
Cool. Yeah. Tell me.
They've got one room that has nothing but dolls in it. And most people don't know that dolls were originally intended to house the souls of the dead. There must be 45, 50 dolls in this room. And I can see every spirit that's attached to them. We had a doll in there. And I can tell you, there's like very little air that runs through the air conditioning in that place. We had one of the dolls lift up her hand and do this.
Oh, I have seen, I forgot her name, but Litriana's doll does that too. I've seen her go to sleep and then open her eyes in the morning. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. I've seen her literally watch me.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen her smile. She will follow me anywhere I go. If I move away, her eyes are following me. But this wasn't even the cool thing with the doll raising his hand. We went 3 doors down to a classroom in there. It had a blank chalkboard. We were sitting there with 7 of us in the room. We watched a piece of chalk lift up and start writing on the chalkboard.
Ooh, what did it write?
I'm here.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I was so mad at myself. The spirits were mad at me for some reason because they literally broke my phone. I couldn't film it. I had half of a screen on my film, on my camera, on my phone. So I didn't get it. My buddy Scott, we were hosting an event for a memorial event for his wife that had passed. Scott forgot to charge his phone, so he didn't get it. The other 5 people in the room with us filmed it, but wouldn't share it with us. Okay. Like they wanted to take credit for it, like they did it, that we had nothing to do with it. We wasn't there. So I missed out on getting some pretty good evidence of chalk writing on the board.
Wow. Wow, that takes a lot of energy, I would think, for a spirit to do that.
It was amazing. I had seen objects move. Now, I'll give you another funny story. I'm not a big fan of clowns because people don't understand where clowns originated from. If you go back to the Dark Ages, they had a group that would rob, rape, and pillage people on the highway. They called themselves the Highwaymen. That's where
I remember that. Yeah.
They would paint themselves up with smiley faces.
Oh.
So they originally started out as evil. Then you get up to John Wayne Gacy, who was a clown. That's enough said. Here in Alabama, I did a house up near Birmingham. The lady had 75 porcelain clown dolls. I opened the door. one of them lifted up off the floor and flew toward the door at me. My first reaction, because I played baseball, was to swing. I hit this thing so hard, it went back against the wall, and you audibly heard it went, "Whoo," when it hit the wall. I shut the door. I said, "I'll be back to take care of you later." But yeah, I've had that kind of stuff happen to me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, dolls, clowns both creep me out. And clown dolls, like that,
Yes.
that's just the combination of two bad things right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well just put 2 spiders and 10 snakes in there. It's going to be the same thing to me.
Right.
I don't like them.
Right there with you, my friend. Right there with you. And I don't know if Broadhead still has it because I haven't been there in a while, but they used to have a doll room too. But also one of the owners makes movie props. So,
right on.
You know, so he's got a lot of cool stuff. He's got the alien from the movie Aliens. He's got the Goblin King from Labyrinth. He's got, yeah, a whole bunch of just a whole bunch of them. Yeah. So, and he keeps making more, which is pretty awesome.
Just something else spirits can attach to. Cool.
Yeah. Well, and they have a museum set up in there now too. So,
right on.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. They've got a lot of fun stuff there at Broadhead at the Manor. So I think that you would really enjoy being there. All right, let's talk about your books. So you think your kid's a psychic. I have seen that book, but I haven't bought the book, but I think I should because I know all the authors.
Yeah, you sure do. And we made a revision of it. Gwen actually contributed to the part 2 of it.
Awesome.
But yeah, we wrote it. We teach classes with it. When we do paranormal events, one of our workshops is so you think your kid's a psychic. We wrote that one because Lee's experience, with having guidance with her mother and her grandmother, and Matt not having any guidance either. Matt grew up in haunted houses his whole life. And myself growing up as a child psychic medium and not having that encouragement or that help. So my part of writing the book was for parents and kids that are psychically gifted to understand their gifts, and it's not like us growing up, it's like, don't talk about that. Now we want them to talk about it because it's out there in mainstream now. But I have helped, and I will not ever say his name, but there was a certain TV psychic that did a show with children.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to go back on 4 of those kids because he didn't teach them how to ground themselves, how to shield themselves, how to protect themselves. And,
that's unfortunate.
Well, luckily I had the gifts I do, and I went down and took care of all 4 children. One of the children that I went and helped is now a pediatric cardiologist. He fixes hearts on children because I helped him get through what he was going through being a child psychic. The other ones have been very successful. The other 3 children have done really well. One is a stockbroker. Another one is he owns 4 construction companies now. And the one little girl that I helped, she's a nurse.
Okay.
So they ended up being well-rounded children turned into well-rounded adults because I could help them.
Right.
But it's like almost a calling for me and Lee to help parents of kids that are psychic, to help them understand, help them get their child to embrace their gifts and celebrate their gifts, not chastise them. And we've
Right.
had such good responses out of the classes. I've had one lady, her and her children, have come back 4 times because they enjoyed the class so much.
That's excellent. That is excellent. I know growing up as a child psychic, it wasn't discouraged, but my parents definitely did not know what to do with me. Like
Oh, no.
they had no idea how to help me, you know.
Well, see, I grew up right here in the middle of the Bible Belt. I mean, right
Yeah,
in the buckle. So you
yeah.
didn't talk about spirits. But it's funny now. My family knows that what I do now,
Hmm.
and they've all seen me on TV. They've read my books. Um, Now it's like, well, how do you believe in all that stuff? But can you come to my house? You know?
Yeah, yeah. My mom, who is super religious, when she had a major surgery, she asked me to do Reiki on her, to
Right
give
on.
her Reiki when she had a major
Yeah.
surgery. So I really believe that, yeah, when people have a deeper understanding, they understand that it crosses into and out of religion
Sure.
because it's all the same thing.
Because
It's,
you think
you
of it
know,
this way, everything is energy anyway.
exactly.
Religion is based off energy. Your life is based off energy.
Hmm.
Everything is. And all the universe all correlates it together. It's all interwoven.
Hmm.
Um, Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there.
Starting to act like me. I lose my train of thought all the time. Um,
We got that severe case of called CRS, can't remember shite, you know?
yeah, exactly. Forget what you're saying right in the middle of saying it. So tell me about Our Sacred Journey. That would be your second book.
Yeah, my second book, I basically wrote it telling how I became an empath medium. Um, Started out, I told the story before when I was 4 and my grandmother and I go through several different things. It's a very short book. It's only like 43 pages long,
Hmm.
but I do give a lot of information in there on how to embrace your gifts, how to um, let your gifts benefit everyone.
Yeah.
Um, so I believe everyone has a gift, but they block it out when they're younger and don't realize they have a gift. So
Right.
some of the stuff I was doing was like trying to get them to recognize that they do have gifts and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Okay.
you can find all our books on Amazon. Um,
Excellent.
but anybody wants one, they can just shoot me a message on Facebook or what, and I'll be more than happy to sign it and send you one.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then you have a third one that's in the works now. Is that something you're ready to talk about, or do you want to
Yeah.
keep it quiet
Well,
for now?
basically, I'm not going to give any details of what I've written about because I want people to read it.
Yeah,
But
obviously.
I will tell you one thing because I've already told the story about going to where Sharon Tate was murdered.
Hmm.
That's in the book. I talk about some different locations around the world that I've got to investigate because I was in the Air Force and got to do stuff that most people would never do, investigation wise. Um, I talk about different locations, and I've done so many locations over 41 years. It was hard to pick, okay, am I going to talk about this location or this location or this location or this location? So I've just been top of my head. It's like, okay, I liked what happened here. I liked what happened here. So that's what I'm writing about right now. Um, I talk about Lee and Matt and Gwen's in my book because we've investigated together. Um, Different people along the way that have helped me with this supernatural journey, I put them in the book. Different people I've investigated with, different locations I'm investigating with. I'm going to do a whole chapter on internet radio.
Awesome.
Where I started 26 years ago on the lovely Blog Talk Radio.
Wow, it's been a minute since I've heard that.
No doubt. A lot of people that are reading goes, what the hell is Blog Talk Radio? Just thank goodness you guys never had to do a podcast on Blog Talk Radio.
I've heard horror stories. Yeah.
They'd allot you an hour and you might get 22 minutes out of that hour because it would cut in and out on you. It was to have a guest on there. If you got more than 10 minutes with a guest on there, it was amazing. But I'm going to put that in the book about the different chapters from going from Blog Talk to All Access Network, where we're doing now with video.
Right.
We can sit and see each other and have a conversation with each other. When you were doing the old days, it was just audio. So you didn't know what the person's mood was. You didn't know if they were smiling, frowning, making faces at you. You didn't know.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I've heard a lot about Blog Talk Radio and the technical issues involved in it. So yeah.
Horrible
tech issues. Yeah. I mean, we have tech issues now. We just call them gremlins.
They're gremlins. Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with StreamYard, but I think it overthinks itself sometimes.
Could be. Yeah.
Because I know myself, I'm running on fiber for my internet. So mine flies. I'm at 2 terabytes speed wise.
Wow.
And, fiber. If you don't have it, please go get fiber.
I wish I could. It's not available.
Oh,
yeah.
The only reason I got ours because we have a co-op for our electrical company, and they offered it, and I was like the first one to sign up for it. It's like, sign me up. And it was cheaper than what my cable internet was, and it's faster.
Yep, I know. It's I have used other people's fiber.
Yeah.
But it's not available where I live. So
if they ever get it, Kristina, jump on it.
I will.
It's worth it. Oh, it's so worth it. Put it this way. I could have this computer going, my TV in my living room, my bedroom, and my outside TV, my tablet, my phone, and my wife's tablet, her phone, and another computer. And doesn't lose any signal strength.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I know evening shows sometimes for me are a challenge because my husband's an online gamer.
Oh, goodness.
And he takes up a lot of bandwidth.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Do it.
And see, if you had fiber, he could sit there and play 15 times more of the games, and you still wouldn't lose nothing.
Right.
You know, that's a cheap plug. If you guys want to sponsor us with fiber, hey, we'll take it.
There you go. Yes. Hey, fiber, sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us. Wow. So what else have you got going on? We are coming into like Paracon season here.
Yeah.
So what do you got? Where can people find you?
Okay. This year, so far, we've got Gettysburg Bash in July. That's me, Lee, Gwen, and Matthew, her husband. Then we have the New Orleans Paracon, end of July, early August. Then the following week, we come back to Alabama. Well, I come back to Alabama. We do Deep South Paracomic-Con down in Enterprise, Alabama with our good friends Stan and Teresa Fikes. And then I think the next one we have is MassCon in October. And Gwen has a few other ones in between, like she's going to do the Broadhead Manor with you guys. And
right.
I think she's going to do some more Northern Paracons. But I sort of limited myself this year.
I can understand. You've had some pretty rough health issues.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to get myself recovered from my health issues. And I figure, okay, I missed out on so much last year that I'm not missing this year. So we scheduled 4 great Paracons for this year.
Excellent.
Next year, I'm hoping to do a lot more Paracons next year.
Awesome.
Something that's really fun for me because you get to go meet a whole bunch of cool new people.
Yes.
And
yes.
and you get to share with like-minded people, and the friendships you make is amazing. I've got friends that I've done Paracons with 20 years ago, and we're still doing it.
Yeah. I love it. I've been doing for years now, 2 decades actually. I've been doing spirit fairs, wellness fairs, psychic fairs, that kind of stuff. It's only been the last few years that I've jumped into the Paracon scene.
Right on.
So, there's, and believe me, that's two very different energies. I did one at Broadhead Manor that was a combination of the two, and like those two worlds didn't know what to do with each other. And I'm like,
I know,
but you're related.
It's like, okay, there's energy here. There's psychic energy. There's paranormal energy with the psychic flair to it. It's all interconnected.
It is, but it was so weird how they just seemed like two completely different worlds. And I'm like, come on, people, it's not that bad. Well,
I think the problem is like you go to a lot of those like psychic fairs and stuff. It's like it's almost a competition to see who can out psychic the other one sometimes.
Sometimes I don't run into that too much. I mean, I'm pretty much friends with everybody that I work with, but it just seems like, I don't know how to say this and say this in a way that isn't offensive to anybody, but the psychic fairs seem to be more about love and light and healing and, going in that direction, where the Paracons are kind of more science-based in a lot of ways. They want evidence. They want to hear the voices. They want to use their equipment. So I think that that's where there's kind of a disconnect, but at the same time, I'm a medium.
Yeah.
I work in both.
Exactly. You know what I like? I like everybody else to use their equipment where it validates what I pick up on.
Same.
That's the reason I like. And plus some of the new stuff is pretty cool.
It is. The new toys are pretty cool.
I mean, who'd ever thought you could use a cat ball in a paranormal investigation?
Exactly.
Like, that's just pure genius right there. $5 cat balls at the dollar store. Boom!
Yeah, you get a pack of like a dozen of them or something. Yeah,
I know. No, unless you want to go, uppity and go buy the ones that you plug in and they recharge, and they're like $45. I'm like, that $5 pack over there works just as well, and it was cheaper.
It was a lot cheaper.
It was a lot cheaper. Hell, for what you paid for that one ball, I could buy 10 packs of these, Dollar Tree ones.
Exactly. So do you offer psychic readings?
Well, let me tell you what my spirit guide, her name is Janelon. She was she lived 900 years ago, and she was a Cherokee medicine woman like my grandmother was. She told me that I could do readings for anybody, but if I ever physically came out and say, hey, I want $10 for a reading, she'd take my gifts for me.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, I figured it out. If I don't ask, if I say, look, if you just want to give me a donation, whatever it is, if it's a nickel, I don't care. It was a donation. But yeah, I do readings. Cool. I've been doing them for a long time.
So how do people get a hold of you to book a reading with you?
Just send me a message on Facebook. I'm the only Blaine Rohan on Facebook.
Okay, Rohan. Yeah, Rohan. Because on here it says Rockstar. So.
Yeah, my last name's not Rockstar, I promise you.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure people knew how to get a hold of you for that. And donation is fine. I think donation's a great thing, and it's really about the energy exchange. As you learn about energy healing and that sort of things, it's really about the exchange.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you, Kristina, if you noticed when you give a reading from somebody and you give them like a name, Do you remember the name after you tell them?
I don't remember the reading after I tell them. No.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
Lee's the one that brought it up to me because it used to bug me. It's like, I've got 170 IQ. How come I can't remember a name I just told you 5 minutes ago? And Lee looked at me and smiled and goes, it wasn't for you to know. You were the messenger. And after that, it was like, okay, cool. So if I do a reading now, I was like, okay, if I give you a name, write it down because I won't remember who I told you. I won't remember back to the part where you said hello to me. That's where I lose memory of it.
Right, exactly, because it's not our information, so we don't need to retain it.
Yeah, and I like that too, because if we did, good Lord, Kristina, all the names we'd have stuck in our head.
And it's not just names, it's details. Like, I don't usually get names. I get details. I get evidence. I don't get names necessarily.
Do you get people, I mean, spirits, when like you're in a crowd somewhere and go, can you tell her something for me?
I used to. I asked them to stop doing that because I was not getting positive reactions from people about that.
Listen, this is what happened to me. All right.
Okay.
Me and my wife are going to a movie. Lady standing in front of us, and I hear this spirit in my ear goes, tell Wheezy I'm here. I'm like, who the hell's Wheezy? And he was persistent. I mean, persistent. Tell her Wheezy. Tell Wheezy I'm here. I'm like, who are you? That's what I'm asking this spirit. Who are you? And I finally tapped on her shoulder. I said, ma'am, is your name Wheezy? And that's a weird name, you know? And she turned around and looked at me like I stole something from her.
Yeah.
I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm an empath medium, and I have this spirit in my ear telling me to get your attention. And she looked at me and goes, well, who is it? And he said, my name's Josephus. She turned white. I mean, white.
I bet.
And she sort of looked at me and says, that's my husband. That's my dead husband. And she goes, well, how do I know it's really him? Kristina, he started humming the Sanford and Son theme. And I looked at her and says, he's humming Sanford and Son. And her eyes got as big as saucers. She's like, we watched that every night before we went to bed. That is Josephus. That is Josephus. I'm like, holy crap, that was pretty cool.
Wait a minute. With names like Wheezy and Josephus, she needed more evidence?
No doubt.
What?
Because I wouldn't make up these names. I'm like,
I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time in the South, but I don't remember hearing either one of those names except Wheezy from the Jeffersons.
Well, Wheezy was a term that African Americans used if they wheezed when they talked or breathed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's how she got the name. It was not really derogatory, but you know, like you call somebody with a lung disease, you call them a lunger, you know, something like that. But they call her Wheezy. But his name was Josephus. Like only in the South does somebody get named that.
Right, but it's still not common, I wouldn't think.
It's not common.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy. I've heard of Wheezy as a nickname for Louise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. Wow. I think it's funny that she needed more evidence.
I'm like, what else more you want? And when he started humming Sanford and Son, I'm just about to laugh. My wife's looking at me like, oh.
Here we go again.
Says, only you could have a spirit come through and talk to somebody you don't even know. I said, he was persistent.
He was persistent.
Very persistent. It was
You know,
either,
honestly, the only time that I have been compelled by spirit to give a message to someone I don't know in a random situation is if they're in danger. And it typically has something to do with their car.
yeah, I've gotten those before too. But
Yeah.
that one's just more lighthearted.
Yeah.
You know, I've got one spirit that came through. It's like, don't let Martha drive that. And I'm like, are you Martha? You know, you're just like, you're scared to tell them, hey, lady, don't drive your car. You're going to die, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your dead husband don't want you in that car. Go get it fixed.
Wow.
Come to find out, she was actually on the way to the car place to get her car fixed because her brakes were going out on her. I had no idea.
Right. Right. I was doing a gallery reading for a church congregation one time, and there was a gentleman hiding in the back, like he was literally like trying to hide behind people.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Jesus just kind of came through me, called him out, and said, "Do not take that car on vacation tomorrow. It has a broken axle."
Oh, jeez.
And he was like, "What?"
Huh?
Like, don't shoot the messenger, man. I'm just the
No doubt,
messenger,
no doubt.
right?
Hey, I'll just relay the messages.
I just pass on what I get. And the next day, I was doing private readings for the same group, and his wife came in and said, "You really shook him up because he took that car right to the mechanic and it has a cracked front axle."
See, that is awesome because
Yeah.
you saved a life. You probably saved two because
Two
probably his
lives.
wife was going to be with him.
Right. And probably they were going on vacation. So they did take the other car on vacation, but this one was newer and had fewer miles. So that's the one they were going to take.
God.
And they ended up taking the other one because that one had a cracked axle. And it may not have even been only their two lives. I mean, if that went out on a highway, they could have taken out other people.
Thank you. Yeah,
You
because
know,
you don't know how many lives you actually saved by flowing a reading to them.
right. Jesus was not giving options.
No, Jesus don't give no options. It's
Jesus
either
doesn't
do
give
it
options. No.
or
Yeah.
die. You know,
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I absolutely love that we get to do this and help people.
it is so amazing. You know, and you like me, we've done this for long, long time,
Decades. Yeah.
and it still amazes us
Yes.
when
Every
we
time.
pick up on something. It's like my wife will just laugh. We'll go drive somewhere, and there'll be a car in front of us that says, "Watch out, he's going to turn," and bam, no turn signal. He's going to turn.
Yep.
I don't know how we know it, but we know it.
We know it. Yeah. It has saved my life many times. And
Oh,
I
whew,
have driven a lot of miles across this country, and yeah,
yeah.
it's saved my life many, many times. And I'm so grateful for it.
Oh,
So we
and
have
the
about a minute left. What
oh
else do you
goodness.
want to share with us today?
Hey, be kind to each other. All right. Make somebody smile today because
I
you
love
don't know what that, we know what that person's going through, but you might not know what they're going through. Make them smile, make them laugh, make their day. Okay.
just be kind.
Be
Just be
kind.
kind. Yeah. We never know what other people are going through. And so just be kind. I am so grateful to have had you on my show, Blaine. This has been a blast. We need to get together more often.
You let me know. Like I said, I don't work.
Yeah, I do. Well, I do, but it's a business that
Well,
I own. So yeah.
well, technically, I don't go to a job no more.
Yeah, yeah, me either. I
I
haven't been
work,
back
but I don't
there.
go to a job no more.
Exactly, exactly. And tell us about your show on this network so people can tune into
Okay.
you.
Well, tonight, we have Family Spirit International that comes on tonight.
That's Monday night, by the way,
Monday
Monday
night
night.
from, I got to remember because Eastern, because we're on Central Time, so I always got to remember the Eastern Time. We're
Yeah,
on at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Okay. And tonight, I forget who our guest is. I do
that's
apologize.
okay. That's okay.
I gotta write stuff down because I have that CRS like really bad now.
I feel you.
And tomorrow night we do a show at the same time, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, called Cryptid Nation. And we've got a gentleman named Josh Joyner who has investigated Sasquatch for the last 20 years. And guys, he is knowledgeable. Come in and listen. He's going to entertain you, and he's going to educate the fool out of you tomorrow night.
Yeah, and you'll be able to catch that on replay because it will actually play last night.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so you'll be able to catch that on replay. Thank you all so much for catching this. I know that it is a recorded one, so you're not going to be able to get immediate feedback from us. But thank you for watching, and I will see you again next week when I have Glenn Bottis is back next week. So super excited about that because he's always a fun one. So take care, everyone. If you'd like to make an appointment with me, you can make that appointment on KristinaBloom.com or send me a message on Messenger on Facebook, Kristina L. Bloom. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great week. See you next time.